the last video I made, I was talking about manipulation. At the end, I didn't really explain myself the best because I kind of forgot what I was talking about. And it was at the 10-minute mark. I'm like, this would be a perfect video because I thought it was a great video. But I basically was just talking about perceiving yourself as weak. So like if you're a wounded animal, and I think in that ends, I'm kind of screwing myself over, but like it's a distraction. There's this animal, there's this fish underneath the ocean, obviously underneath the ocean, in the very depths of the ocean where it has a little light. And all you see is this little light. But in fact, there's it's got big teeth, so it's going to eat you. So you get distracted. It's a distraction. That's what I'm basically talking about. You perceive yourself as weak, so like maybe the person who's trying to attack you, they come at you, but they don't come at you full force, but then you can counteract them quicker. And you know what I mean? Like you're limping around, they think that, oh, I'm gonna attack their leg when you're really fine, and you just acted like it, and then like you just totally dominate them because you catch them off guard, like, oh crap, and then like they hesitate, like that moment of hesitation, like where you pounce, and like that's what I'm talking about. When I wanted to talk the story about the being in the woods, what I meant was like it's obviously a survival thing. So like if you're running out of resources and you can't get resources like right now, but you see somebody else with resources, and like it's like you either find the resources now or you're gonna starve, or you take theirs. You know what I mean? So that's where I was going with that type of analogy. So the whole thing, the whole thing with that one video I made earlier today, I was pretty. So what's happening right now is going through the holidays. Like for me, it feels like there's a lot of stress because like with my job, there's a lot of high volume, takes a lot out of me, and then like trying to get myself prepared for another move, because it's not just packing things up and actually moving things. It's the whole process of like getting things figured out, getting accepted, and then like switching things over again, like having to switch over my address again. I've done it so many times. I'm just like, there's so many like different places I have to notify that I'm changing address, and it's just like I'm tired of it. I'm just like burnt out. I think that's the biggest thing, is just like I just want to chill somewhere so I don't have to think about like the stresses of constantly having to move. Because like my plan is like just to get through the holidays, and it is pretty brutal when you don't have when you're I do have family, like I got my kids and all that, but like when you're going through the holidays alone, as a single person, it's more a little bit harder on you. So this is gonna be my second year in a row going by myself again, and a lot of people turn to drinking, and I don't like to drink. I don't want to drink at all. Usually I'll have like, maybe I'll buy like a fifth, and I'll just kind of like sip on it through a few days throughout the holidays, the seasons like Christmas or whatever. I like to like really just take Christmas and just kind of relax, binge myself, and enjoy the day, not having to do nothing, to go nowhere. But it's a stressful time, and it already feels like that. It's just like more expenses, more expenses, more expenses. Here's some more stuff. Everything's going up. More stuff is going up. And it's just stressful. And I think that there's a lot of people that are probably in the same boat as me at this point, where, I mean, the good thing for me, I don't have to buy presents. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about, making an extravagant dinner, or I'm not really doing too much for decorations. I'm about to move. So it's just like, and moving isn't the cheapest, even though like I would be moving like really close. It's still still a pain in the butt, man. Like making sure that you basically have rent. Like if you're renting somewhere, you want to be able to um, give yourself like a week, but I might have to pay for like a month, like having to pay for my other place and my current place for a month is that's like a lot of money. So it's just kind of like when you're moving and renting there's a you don't want to be homeless. you, you don't want to just be like don't have a place lined up. So it's like you want to have a place lined up, um, and then it's stressful. It's stressful like going to and moving to a new place with that. Like like it's a big expense. Like moving. So yeah, I've just been really stressed out about that. And then like also I don't like my job and um trying to figure out where we're going. Are we when we're probably going to hit a recession, I would think, and I think that we're kind of in it. I think there's a lot of excitement for the Trump victory, and I mean obviously Bitcoin's still going up. Let me see. Bit it's like stable. I mean, it's stable. What am I talking about? A game like what when Trump was elected on November 5th, um, it was like 68,000. And damn, I don't have Coinbase on here. That's crazy. Um, let me look it up. Like I like to go for SD bullion. That's where I check out my gold prices. Um, and Bitcoin right now is 89,000. So and it got up to like 93,000. So like that's a huge jump, and like a week, like that's a gigantic jump. People are really bullish when they talk about the custody of Bitcoin by our government. So what that means is other governments are going to try to custody as well. So there's only so much Bitcoin. That's what makes the value go higher. And the more countries that custody this product, this technology, the more decentralized it can be. That's why I'm like, the more people that have Bitcoin, even if it's only $10 worth, like if you have $10 and you're like, I'm just gonna go buy a little bit of Bitcoin. It's not like you have to own a whole Bitcoin. It's like having at least it's making the thing decentralized as much as possible, so you don't have like one party just like totally owning like most of it. That's what we eat. When one party owns most of it, it ends up being worthless. Keeping everyone being able to have it, access to it, is where we want to be. Like how MicroStrategies keeps buying it up. They keep buying it up. It's like I'm kind of like, because like there's only 21 million that has ever been created. I mean, my bad. There's only 21 million that can ever be created. It hasn't all been created yet. You go do your research. I'm not going to explain stuff. So you go do your research. The problem is there's an estimation of about 5 million. They say that there's around 5 million that have been lost. 4 to 5 million in like landfills. People thought it was worthless when it first came out. I mean, people were buying like pizzas for like 10,000 Bitcoin, stuff like that. So like it's just lost. And that means there's only so much Bitcoin out there for people. It's the only thing is like to make it so instead of it being how our fiat currency is, how we can keep printing more, we can't do that with Bitcoin. Uh Unless like one entity takes like most custody. So like there's a fork that happens, um, and they can decide what they want to do because like they basically own most of it. Then it just becomes worthless. Um, the bigger Bitcoin gets, the harder it is to buy to be able to do that. Uh, so that's what we want. We want more. What I want is more people to be able to like have access to it, and that's why I say like when people say, "Oh, don't buy," it's like, why would you not even have a little bit? Like you don't. I'm not. You don't go too much in. I think that Lynn Alden, one of my favorite economists, said like at least like 5% of your portfolio. You mean like if you have money that you're putting away for your 401k, why wouldn't you want to put a little bit for Bitcoin or something just in case? It's just like an insurance policy like Aaron Clary says. Like these these people, like another one of my favorite economists, like why would you just want to just be like, I just want to have gold and that's it? You know what I mean? Like Peter Schiff. Like it's not like, okay, I want to have all of my assets in Bitcoin. It's not like, oh, I mean, you can try that, and like people who do that are gonna be really well off. The way I have mine set up is I'm basically have been betting against the dollar, but it's such a long process. So I have to work regular jobs to sustain myself. Um, through the process of Bitcoin expanding and getting bigger and bigger, to the point where I could be a millionaire in like 5 to 10 years if I sustain myself without selling it. That's the big thing, is not selling my Bitcoin. The last thing I want to do is sell my Bitcoin. I will sell my gold, any other asset I have. I'm not sure if I'll sell my guns before that, but like I definitely will sell every other asset I have before I sell big. That's like the last thing I'm going to sell. I'll sell my Ethereum, I'll sell my Solana, I'll sell anything else, any other crypto I have invested in before I sell my Bitcoin. I've actually had some of my Bitcoin stolen and I haven't received my compensation from the lawsuit. I tried to do it, but like the way that they had it set up was just so like idiotic. And I think that my money is probably lost. I haven't received any type of uh, notice. So I'm thinking that that money that they were supposed to compensate me from my, at that time, I'd rather just have my Bitcoin. I'd rather just have my crypto back because my Bitcoin was way more valuable than my, because I left it on an exchange, and that's the problem. BlockFi. I put it on an exchange, and it was gaining interest, a lot of interest. So I had a good portion of it on there. Not all my portfolio of crypto, but I had some. I had like 25% of my. I don't want to go into numbers, but I had like a percentage of my Ethereum at that time. I had a percentage of my Bitcoin. But my Chainlink is gone. That got liquidated. But yeah, like there was, you would be able to have interest, like 5% interest on how much you put on there. Like I was gaining, that in crypto though. I was gaining that in Bitcoin. I was gaining that in Chainlink. It was the way I had it. It was set up. It was basically kind of like staking it, but it was staking it. It was basically staking it, but I could take it out. There was restrictions of how much I could take out, but like there was different restrictions, but like I was basically staking it, yeah. And then FTX, they were invested in FTX or whatever, and they stole my crypto, man. That's what happened. It got stolen because it wasn't in a wallet. It wasn't on exchange, and you don't want to just keep your stuff, like a good portion of your crypto, on an exchange. You want it to be a wallet. You want to have it a little bit on the ledger, like on a hard wallet. But the thing with that is too, like you can. I'm not too sure about like if it matches. So like if you could have a wallet that keeps track, like how putting it on a ledger. Like, just look this stuff up yourself, man. I'm not going to explain this. And in fact, I haven't really even thought about this stuff for the last 4 years. So I'm kind of out of the loop when it comes to crypto, honestly. Like, I have to, like, kind of relearn, honestly, like, a little bit. I just haven't cared. Like, I was looking at it a lot. But, I kind of seen, like, it's, like, whatever, I'm just gonna hold it, and I need to like stop paying attention to it, because like what it was doing is kind of make me addicted, honestly. Like I was like spending way more than I should have. I was, yeah, I man, I don't want to go into numbers, but like I don't have any crypto. Like what crypto, like how it's doing good right now. It's the investment I have isn't that much. So like yeah, it's not really helping me out personally because I didn't really invest too much of it. I only had limited access. I only had like limited funds because I have to live and I'm poor. So like I was like, okay, here I'm gonna put like $100. You know what I mean? And a couple, like one mistake I made is like, never mind, I don't want to talk about that, but that's a strategical thing that, whatever. But when you put your Bitcoin in a ledger, it's like your physical custody. But what happens if somebody steals it? It's like there's not 100%. So like when you have a digital wallet, you just have to memorize the 12 words. As long as you can memorize the 12 words, you can have access to your Bitcoin. Digital wallets are huge. It's like your own bank. And banks are afraid of this, and this is what they're trying to figure out, how to implement things, because what they're trying to figure out is what currency can we use, because we're basically using credit anyway, and we can just use stable coins. Like I think the stable coins it matches with the dollar, and I think that they'll probably go with that. But like it seems like they might be like thinking about Doge. I don't know, and I'm not giving anyone any financial advice. The way I set things up for me was I wanted to be diversified as much as I possibly could for a poor person. So having some silver, having some gold, having some Bitcoin, having some, like I said, I wanted to be diversified. I didn't want to just go into one thing, because think about it. If I would have just went to one thing, let's say like Bitcoin, I want 100%. So all that stuff and I want some camping supplies as well, and survivals, like first aid kits and stuff like that, water purification tablets, and in case like a civil war happened, or like a blackout, then the power's gonna, or like an EMP going off over our country, knocking out the power for an extended period of time. Obviously I'm not going to try to stay where I'm at. I'm going to get away from people as much as I possibly can. So like I don't have a place to go. So I don't have like a cabin. I don't have land, which I wish I did. That's something that I want. I want that. I want to have land away from like civilization. Um, so I have somewhere to go, and people I care about know where it's at. And if they have to walk there, they can walk there. It might take a few days, but they will be able to find where we have a place set up. I think if you have the resources, it's really good to be able to have a place like that. And I would, if I had land, I would definitely have some type of underground facility where I can store food that lasts like 25 years, water, stuff like that, stuff that lasts. Um, so you don't have to worry about going hungry. Well, you're out there and you might not be able to grow. Things aren't coming in like you want. There isn't like many animals you can hunt, so it's just like, well, at least I have this food here. That's is that. So you're not gonna starve. That's a huge thing, man. If I had resources, I would have land and I have a bunch of that food that just like stocked up. Um, the 25-year stuff, like I'd have a ton of that. But and it would be underground so people wouldn't even know it's there. So it's like with the crypto, it's I think like since Trump won, he's pro Bitcoin. It was a huge win for Bitcoin. So like at this point, if our government goes ahead and possibly like prints money to buy said Bitcoin, the value is gonna skyrocket. There's gonna be less Bitcoin, and then like you're gonna need people to sell, which people do sell, and that's what you see right now. So like you'll see it correcting. But if other countries are trying to get this Bitcoin, like this, people are predicting it could be 100,000 by the end of the year. It could be 100,000 by the end of the month. Man, like honestly, the sky is the limit. I don't know how high this could go if other countries start custodying Bitcoin like El Salvador and possibly like America's planning on doing. The value might accelerate substantially. Like it seems like it's accelerated right now. I can't imagine if, because you see an automatic demand and people wanting to buy it, and it'll be more of an accelerated rate of people. So like that'll make the price go up because there's only so much. There's only so much supply out there of Bitcoin that you can get. Like they mine it or whatever, but I think they can only produce so much a day. And there was a halvening that just happened. So like they're producing like half as much as they could produce before when they mine it. Um it'll cause a supply problem, shooting up the price. And that's like, if I had to make an estimate, if we continue this path, I don't know how high this could go. This bull run, I don't know. It could be like people are like predicting, 5 years from now, it could be like Michael Saylor. I think he said like 12 million in like 20 years. Yeah, but it could happen. It could be worth 1 million. I could just like wake up one day and it's worth, and all of a sudden it's like millions of dollars. Bitcoin is worth millions of dollars coming up. That would be so like, I couldn't imagine just waking up one day, opening up X, and then all of a sudden Bitcoin's worth $3 million. A Bitcoin. I don't know what I would do. Because then at least I'd be able to pay my debt off. And they say don't sell your Bitcoin. So that would be a decision that I would have to make to be like, okay, so I can sell this Bitcoin and I can like not have to worry about my debt anymore at all. I'll have no debt, but I won't have any Bitcoin. Something that I would have to think about when I get. So I'm just trying to keep. That's why I'm gonna get a second job myself. Is just trying to pay some of this debt off. There's also a thing where you might see banks, if they want to like continue to be around, is letting us borrow against our Bitcoin. And obviously, like, it's kind of like how the stock market fell. People were borrowing against their assets, so it's like if if I just sit here and borrow against my asset, which we can't do yet, which is so crazy. But like this, if banks want to like stay around, this is something they're gonna have to think about, is being able to let me borrow against my Bitcoin, um, and paying back like the principal and all that's at a given time. Uh, so like if Bitcoin is 100,000, and then I borrow, they let me borrow $50,000 on my they hold my Bitcoin. I'm just saying, if I had a whole Bitcoin, if I had a whole Bitcoin and it went up to $100,000, and like they're like, okay, we'll let you borrow half of your Bitcoin. So like, so yeah, when I did that transaction and I took on basically that debt to the bank, and I promised to pay that back, but it's slowly each month, you know what I mean, or each year, if that's how they want to set it up, like a one-time payment through that year, like a big lump sum or something, um, or like a couple lump sums, like car insurance. Every 6 months you can pay it off in full, in advance, and that's what I think they should start doing for like mortgages too. But anyway, so it's just like, what am I talking about? It's that Alzheimer's, man. It's that this horse is about to need to go to the glue factory because I'm getting old. No, it's what it is. It's like, if you um if Bitcoin was to go under 50,000, it's called a margin call. So it goes under 50,000, and they're like, okay, um, you have to make up the difference now. So like, if I borrowed 50,000 and Bitcoin went to back down to 20,000, I have to, what did I say, 20,000, 20, let's see, yeah, I have to give them $30,000 like right now. The 30,000, and hypothetically, if I took um that that loan, and then I put it in other investments where I couldn't liquidate it quick enough, I would lose my whole Bitcoin. Um, I would lose it all, because they would be forced to sell the Bitcoin to get their money back. Um, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you still be like held on with that debt you owe without having your Bitcoin anymore. So like, gonna have to be careful how much you don't want to borrow, um you want to borrow just a little bit. You don't want to be borrowing a ton, that if something happens, that you can't liquidate assets so quick enough so you can sustain your Bitcoin and don't lose it, because like it could go back up. At some point, it will go back up. But I don't know, man. I don't know what'll happen with it. And I'm not giving any financial advice. So I want people to understand that I'm not. When I say people should have Bitcoin, I think that they should have at least a little bit. Like right now, go out buy like $10 worth. If they, you know what I mean? Like, I, if you have like the extra $100 and you're gonna use that towards like medicinal purposes, like if you can, you know, instead of doing like that one thing that month or something like that, it's whatever, $50, $20 is there, like what is like $5 to somebody, you know what I mean? What is $10 to somebody? It's like the average person, kids can like come up with $5. Anybody, it's like something small, but that's why I wanted everybody to have access to it. Uh, because it's like it keeps it decentralized. It keeps it even more decentralized because we don't want America just having full custody. We don't want the owners of the Bitcoin who actually created to have full custody. We don't want them to have majority, not full custody, but majority share. And we don't want them. We don't want micro strategies having more than 50% ownership of like the Bitcoin out there. We don't want. We want it to be everybody to have it as much as possible. Be decentralized. You know, like we don't want just one entity like BlackRock owning most of the Bitcoin. We don't want them having like, what is it, 8 Bitcoin? If they not 8 million Bitcoin. We don't want them being able to have 8 million Bitcoin. I'm not even sure, like off the top of my head, how much that would be. Um, Probably in the trillions. I don't know, but like, what is it? $89 right now. So 8 million times what? Let's just say 90,000. I like the new calculator so much better. Like I can on my phone, like I can backspace. That's so cool, and especially with like calling somebody too, which I never do. I can do that. So like, okay, that's just there's 9 zeros in case I say this wrong. There's 9 zeros, and then this is it's 720, and then 9 zeros. I believe that's billion. I believe that's billion, but it could be trillion. I think it's trillion actually. I don't know. Seven. It doesn't sound right. Like I don't. A million is 6 zeros. Yeah, I think that's trillion. Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, that's trillion. That's trillion. You need 700. No, we don't have that. We don't have that much money in the world right now. Um. So like, yeah, to be able to own. Um. I think that the world, all the economy put together, like with all the assets and everything, is like, I don't know, close to 400 trillion, the total value. But there's Bitcoin that hasn't been mined yet. But you can see where this is headed if companies and especially countries, like countries are like buying Bitcoin. You can see where the value could end up being. Um, the high, like that's crazy. You know, that's more than our all of our world economy right now. Um, and there's aliens. It's official. There's flying objects that we don't know who they are. We don't know what how this we're trying to re-engineer I think what happened was there's probably really advanced species in a different solar system than us, and when we started setting off the nuclear explosions, it set off sound waves to the rest of the cosmosis, and they're like, "What the fuck is going on over here?" Um, so they figured out how to get here. Obviously, if they can travel as fast as those ships can travel, which we cannot. We can't travel that quick. We can't. Our bodies can't sustain that type of acceleration. It's instantaneous death for us. So like these creatures are some type of interdimensional beings that can go through some type of like, I'm thinking that the propulsion system is like it makes some type of Stargate. Mm. And then it just like sucks it in there. That's how it can go so fast. It makes like instantaneous wormholes. This technology, and I don't know if our human bodies can go ahead and sustain that. But you know what I do know is that our AI technology will be able to sustain that. So our AI technology will be able to travel on with this technology, which is crazy. Like I hope that Elon gets in there and like uses this technology. He's gonna like this will probably help us get to the Mars really fast. If he can like get in there and check out this technology, it's going to make space travel Epstein. It's going to make it way more quicker. The acceleration of development of with the engineers, him working with the instead of like, because you can use this technology for evil, and we don't want that. We need to go outward. We need to have. I don't think that we're ever going to be able to. You're never going to be able to have a human go to another cosmosis physically how we are. You're going to have us like Star Wars, Star Trek, I mean, where they kind of uh, appear and they can go appear back in the ship. I forgot what it's called. Like it's some type of teleportation. That's the only way that we can physically come out of this world where we're at, because we're just so far from everything else, to some other planet somewhere else. We're gonna have to like defragmentate, and then refragmentate over there to get through like the portal to get through. We're not going to be able to sustain solid mass in the 3D realm throughout this travel, because we just won't be able to. This is what I'm talking about with ideas. I don't know how to implement these ideas. I just come up with them. But somebody else that knows my ideas, that can hear them, could be like, wow, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, yeah. Anyway, hopefully that that shed some light on some things. Yeah.